In this video, I'm going to discuss a couple things about setting up your data for data editing using filters and cursor-driven functions that are available in COD. So the first thing we want to do is load those functions, the editing functions. To do that, we go to our includes files folder on our hard drive, find includes data editing, and give it a double click. There we go. It automatically compiled. There's the menu. So we can hide this guy, and we don't really need this anymore. I've already loaded some GRA data. See it here. And if you look at the actual data, GRA, you'll see it's pretty noisy. And this was just downloaded from LIMS. So the first thing I like to do is actually look at, say, all the data from a site. And since we're doing GRA, we're going to go up to Data, Plotting, Data Multiplot. You can see I've been using this already. We put in 1338 ABC. We want GRA and GRA. We haven't assigned any CCSF values yet. So the data that are just downloaded are using CSF. The x-axis is the depth axis. It's going to be a new plot. We don't want to leave room for the spliced data, and it's multi-axis. So let's do that. And there we go. Okay, so we got some pretty dirty data. The reason I like to do all three at one time is to make sure that what looks like a spike when we're just looking at one hole's worth of data may in fact not be a spike when you see it recurring in all three holes. But to actually edit the data, I like to work on one hole alone. So let's go up to again COD data plotting, and we want a new data plot. 1338 will do A, GRA will go from 0 to 100. The y-axis will be on the right, the x-axis will be on the bottom, and we're going to call it depth, and it's going to be CSF. So there's our plot, a little bit bigger than we need, quite a bit bigger than we need. All right, so now we have, let's see, I'll put them here. Now we have our data. So we could start editing this right away, and there are two other videos for using the filters and using the cursor-driven editing. So I'm not going to actually do any editing now, but I want to show you a couple things that can help you in your editing if there's some question about whether points are bad. Now the first thing is, if you have already loaded the images, or you should load the images, then you can plot these data on top of the images. Or in this case, since the data are already plotted, we can plot the images underneath the data. So let's do that. We'll go up to the COD image menu, plotting. We want to append images. And again, it's 1338A. This time it's an append. We're going 0 to 100, S2, and it's depth. So there we go. Now let's open this up a bit. Let's see. COD data plotting. We want the depth axis. Let's make it say 0 to 50. And okay, so now you can see that we've got the data plotted on top of the image. So that can be quite nice. As you can see, sometimes these spikes are actually perhaps really thin layers. Other times the spikes are not. Perhaps a good case right there. Now, another reason you might get spikes, or quite often the reason you do get spikes is because you're at the end of a section. So one way you can check to see whether spikes are occurring at the end of a section is to double click on the data. You'll come up with this menu. And for color, select the function of Z, which will bring up this menu. We'll give it rainbow color table. And for Z, we'll go to 1338A. And what we want is, oops, where are you? 1338A section. Do that. And say, do it. Okay. Now you can see that we've got different colors for each section. So we can see where the section ends are. If we just let's see, do a horizontal expand on this guy, you can see, for instance, that these spikes are almost certainly the result of being at the end of a section. And you can see we have spikes here at the end of these sections. Now these are overlapping. I happen to know red is section 1 and purple is the section 7. They're overlapping because these are CSF, not CCSF, and obviously there was slightly greater than 100% recovery in this shallow core. So there you have it. The two things that I like to do when I'm editing the data, use the sections for colors and plot on top of the image. So that's it. Now to actually work these functions, go on to the instructions for filters and cursors. That's it.